Sometimes when working with large amounts of numerical data in a workbook here in Excel 2019, it can be difficult just to look at the numbers and understand what's going on, to pick up on trends, for example. In that case, you want a visual representation of your data, and that means inserting charts. That's what we're going to do with our leaf and mortar revenues workbook here. 0206 if you're catching up. The first thing we're going to do, if you've been following along, we zoomed in here to freeze panes. We're going to zoom back out from the View tab on the ribbon, click the 100% button to zoom right back out. Now, there are many different types of charts with many powerful features and functions. We could do a whole course just on charts. In this movie, we're going to focus on something called recommended charts, where Excel will actually pick out the types of charts that will work with the data you want to display. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We'll start with our figures for Q1 and the United States only. So we'll click and drag from cell A6 across to D6. So we're getting United States and the figures for January, February, and March. Now we want to show that in a chart. We go up to the Insert tab and check out the Charts group. There's lots to choose from here. But there's also a button labeled Recommended Charts. Give that a click. It's going to show you a selection of charts that will work with the data you've selected. In this case, our Q1 data for the United States. In this case, a single row of data. You can see there's only a few options here, like our clustered column and bar charts. There's a line chart. And check it out, a pie chart will work with a single row of data and the funnel chart down at the bottom. Let's click Cancel. We change our mind. We want to get the visual representation of the data for Q1 for all of our locations. In that case, we'll click and drag from A4 across and down to D8. We don't want the totals, just the figures for each location. Now when we go back to recommended charts and click, we'll see a different selection. There's clustered column, but there's also a stacked version of that, and an area and line chart. And as we scroll further down, some other types of charts. We don't see pie chart here. That wouldn't work for the type of data we've selected. There's scatter and bubble charts here as well, even the funnel down at the bottom. Let's scroll all the way back up to the top. This one, when we select it, gives us a nice preview of what it's going to look like. There's our 4 locations and the color codes for January, February, and March. All we have to do is click OK, and it's inserted right there in the top left corner of our sheet. Now we can go to the handles down at the bottom right-hand corner, for example, and click and drag to resize this. It is an object. We can go inside near the border. When you see the 4-sided arrow, click and drag to move it down. Maybe under Q1 here would be a good spot for it. And the only thing we really need to do is give our chart a title. It says Chart Title. Click again to get inside the object, and then click and drag over the 2 words Chart Title to type in our own. How about Projected Revenues and a dash, and let's do Q1 2019, like so. Just click in the background to see what that looks like. Pretty good. There's lots of things we can do with this chart. Go ahead and click once inside. You can see the handles again around the outside. It shows you the shaded areas, the data that's being used down below. There are also some chart styles, and you can see the one that's selected right at the beginning, but we can try different ones that include labels with numbers. Just hover over these to get a feel for what it's going to look like, until you see one that you like better than the originally selected option. That's kind of cool with the dark background. But I think this one's going to work out nicely, style 6. We'll just give it a click in the background, and there's our chart. So when you're not sure what type of chart is going to work best with the data you've selected and want to view in a visual or data representation that's easy to understand, remember recommended charts will always steer you in the right direction.